Avi Meyers, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. Dial us up on the web at ntnm.org. Besides for being on regular TV, we are also on YouTube. Caps24.org. Sonny Hirsch in his spare time is the chairman of the District Advisory Committee of the 24th District. And speaking of the police, we are pleased to have the chairman of the Police Memorial Foundation, Arthur Hannus. How are you?
Just fine, sir. Thank you for having me.
First of all, my pleasure. You yourself were a former police officer?
Yes, I was.
Great. And tell us about the Police Memorial Foundation.
Well, the Police Memorial Foundation is an organization created first back in the early 2000s to recognize the fallen officers, and later we added on some things for the officers who were catastrophically injured. The families originally involved in this were the Gold Star families and Pat Stubig and some of those folks. They were able to work with Phil Klein and able to get the Park District to donate some land next to the Soldier Field so that we could build a park there recognizing our heroes.
And there have actually been, I mean, when I heard the number last year when you were here of fallen officers, I was shocked by how many there have been over the years.
Yes, it's an enormous number. It's currently at 562, and I say that for two different reasons. One, we hope we have no new fallen officers, but also there are some fallen officers that we didn't know about from back 100 years ago or so, and we have a research committee that works on that, and each year we end up adding a few additional names off of that.
Even one block from the house is the Honorable Philip, not Honorable, but the Philip O'Reilly, that's the honorable street name, who was a fallen officer whose wife was with you last year.
Yes, Beth O'Reilly, and she is the president of the Gold Star families now. And she's hard at work all the time trying to bring in new support for the foundation.
Yeah, I know that, Sonny Hirsch, as a matter of fact, has your license plates, which is one way people are able to show their support. Do you have a big event coming up or anything like that? Or
we do. The September 10th, we have the candlelight vigil that we have every year in the first or second week of September, depending on the availability of the park, if the Bears are in town or whatever. But we like to do it right around the 10th or the 11th. And we invite not only the police families, but all citizens who support the police to come on down to the park. We read the names of all the fallen officers. We have usually the mayor and the governor there as well, and of course the superintendent. And the speeches are brief because we're really concerned about talking about the fallen officers.
Yeah.
And the city lights up. A lot of the businesses in the city light up their buildings with the star numbers of the fallen officers.
Wow, that's I know that the one time I was at 35th in Michigan at police headquarters, there's an entire hallway that has pictures and the badges of all the fallen officers, and the fact that there's 562. I mean, that's it's important to help take care of the families and the women and children and all the rest of it. I mean, it's a real shame, and people forget how dangerous a job it can be.
Well, it's a very dangerous job, and most of the time the officers are doing it without a whole lot of thanks.
I think that's an understatement.
Yeah, and what we think is that we can show our appreciation for what they've done and try and help the families when they do have a catastrophic event or a death. The one thing we know about police is that they don't make a lot of money, and when a family loses the breadwinner, police officer, they have to still carry on. And there are a lot of things that fall through the crack financially, besides the other kinds of support that you give to people. And so they needed this help. And years ago, when I was a young man, I remember talking with other people about the need for something like this, and including Phil Klein, by the way. And we all just kind of thought somebody would pick up the ball and do it. And I guess no one did it until Phil did. So I'm real proud of Phil and Gold Star families, and now we're able to do a lot for these folks.
Yeah, actually, on a different level too, he's my favorite police commander of all time.
Well, I'd have to say I don't want to hurt the feelings of any of the others that I've known over the years, and I think they're all great. But I've got a special place in my heart for Phil.
Yeah, no, the city seemed to. I know that not just the neighborhood policing, but just the approach the police department took during his reign, or during his time in charge, was something that the officers on the force were proud and happy to carry out, and I think they did a better job under him. Not to mention, I think the strategy and tactics, because I run my police beat too, so I'm familiar with a lot of things, and you know, he really did do a lot of outstanding stuff. There's no question about it. So, you know, if people, so okay, you've got now of the 562. How many? I mean, how many families are there now that? I mean, do you are there like 100 families being taken care of? 200 families being taken care of?
No, I'll count it in a different way.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you first what we do for the families. When an officer falls, the first thing we do is we give the family $50,000. Okay.
Yeah.
And that helps get them through the short term and the financial problems that they're likely to have. We also pay for the grade school, high school tuition of their children. Because
nice.
Because again, they usually, a lot of police have their kids going to, you know, parochial or private schools.
Sure, I went to parochial schools.
Yeah, and they work extra jobs to afford that.
Yeah.
And now you've lost them, somebody's got to pay for that. So we do that. We also pay for the college education for the children of catastrophically injured officers.
Yeah.
And we give all of the children a $2,500 grant every year for books and tuition.
Wow.
So to answer your question, there are 34 students now receiving benefits from us.
That's such a nice thing. I mean, that really takes care of some major headaches. And by the way, you're not kidding. The guys who are my beat officers, they're all doing private security. They're all hustling here and hustling there because, yeah, they want to send their kids to the best schools they can send them to and take as good a care of their family as they can.
Yes, and you know, and that's what every parent would want to do.
Yeah.
And when they're lost, it's just an enormous burden for the family, and not to mention just the grief that they have to deal with.
If people want to contact the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation, how do they do that?
They can go on chicagopolicememorial.org.
Okay.
And the number will be pulled up on there, and they can contact us directly.
chicagopolicememorial.org. We want to thank you very much, Arthur Hannus, who's the chairman of the foundation, and thank you for all the good work. I want to thank Ed McElroy for bringing you here today. I want to thank my entire technical crew, Sonny Hirsch. I hope you'll join us again next week, and remember, all our shows are on YouTube. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.